There we go. Sorry about that. I forgot I wasn't multi-streaming like I should have been. There we go. That wind is kind of crazy, not gonna lie. It is not fun up there at all when it is this windy up at the launch site. Yeah, you can kind of see it right here. It's very tiny compared to SpaceX or Star or any of the like Blue Origin stuff like that. It's only 40-foot tall rocket. This that's something I don't need to worry about. So yeah, there's all. It's we're probably not even gonna be able to see it from the house, to be honest, with how small it is.
Now 46 minutes and 45 seconds from the opening of today's launch window here at Cape Canaveral, Florida. You're continuing to look at a live view of Space Launch Complex 46, where Astra's Rocket 3.3 vehicle is vertical. It stands just 43 feet or 13.1 meters in height. Relatively small by launch vehicle standards. In fact, it's the smallest currently flying, currently in service, orbital class rocket in the world. This
Yep,
mission will
there
be
we go.
carrying the first 2 of 6 Tropics Hurricane Research satellites for NASA. These satellites are each about 11 to 12 pounds, or about 5.3 kilograms at launch. NASA has purchased 3 dedicated launches from Astra over last year to launch these 6 satellites on 3 separate occasions this summer. Today marks the first of the 3 launches from here at Cape Canaveral. All 3 will be lifting off from Complex 46 here in Florida. On the left side of this slide is a view of Astra's rocket on the launch pad, and inside the payload fairing that's emblazoned with the NASA meatball logo are the 2 Tropics satellites. On the upper right is an artist concept of what the satellites look like in space, fully deployed. Once they deploy their solar panels and activate their instruments, they'll be scanning tropical cyclones, collecting data on their intensity and changes and evolution with unparalleled revisit rate of about once every hour. So scientists will be able to see what's going on inside tropical cyclones about once every hour. Currently, similar instruments are flying on satellites in polar orbit that only allow about 4 observations of hurricanes per day. So this will be a great deal more data for researchers to get their hands on to study how these cyclones form and evolve. On the lower right is a view from Blue Canyon Technologies, which built the satellites. Of all 6 Tropics satellites, actually 7 Tropics satellites, including an engineering model, a ground model, a Pathfinder satellite, ready for liftoff in their state before they were shipped to Cape Canaveral for integration with Astra's launch vehicle.
That.
We spoke with Bill Blackwell, the principal investigator of the Tropics mission from MIT Lincoln Laboratory, a couple of days ago. And he talked a little bit about what the mission will be doing and the data it'll be collecting over the course of its 1 year of operations. And the goal is to get these satellites in orbit in time for the peak of hurricane season, the peak of Atlantic hurricane season,
Which is right.
coming up in late August and early September. So
We're in already, so.
William Blackwell, the principal investigator for the Tropics mission.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the Tropics mission will reveal about hurricanes?
We're trying to make improved observations of tropical cyclones, and what we're really trying to characterize is the fundamental thermodynamic environment around the storm. So that's things like the temperature and the amount of moisture and precipitation intensity and structure around the storm. And those are important variables because they can be related to intensity of the storm and even potential for future intensification. So we're trying to make those measurements with relatively high revisit. That's really the key new feature that the Tropics constellation provides is improved revisit of the storms. We'll have 6 satellites orbiting, and one satellite will orbit and make a nice image of the storm, and then the next satellite will orbit closely behind it, about an hour behind. So we'll get roughly every hour a new image of the storm, and that's about a factor of 5 to 8 better than what we get today. So with these new measurements of rapidly updated imagery,
What's up, Ashwing?
Understand the storm better.
I was just actually checking to see if we had any tropical stuff going on in the Atlantic, which we don't,
And the
thank God.
instrumentation you're using on these CubeSats.
So they're talking about
similar instruments
what,
you've flown before, but much larger and larger satellites, kind of one-off things.
what they're actually carrying and what the mission is right now. It's basically satellites about the size of a loaf of bread that is getting launched today.
Others have been applying passive microwave radiometers for decades, and these are big, expensive instruments.
Jesus Christ, my
And
wife
what we've
sent
done
me
with
4
Tropics
TikToks.
is miniaturize the electronics and make them much smaller and accommodatable on very small nanosatellite CubeSat spacecraft. So the entire satellite for Tropics, one of them weighs about 10 pounds, and it's about the size of a loaf of bread. So these are relatively inexpensive to build and test. You can make them fairly rapidly, and they're relatively inexpensive to launch. You can launch these on rideshare missions through SpaceX and others and get them up quickly and at relatively low cost.
It is small.
Can you talk
But
about
that's the
types
thing,
of
like,
measurements
what
you're gonna be,
technology is doing
making
nowadays.
Inside the, looking down from orbit into the hurricane, into the cyclone, will you be seeing, temperatures, winds? What kind of things are you looking at?
Right. Well, there are a number of things that we're looking at. So I mentioned temperature. So one of the things that we're very interested in is measuring the temperature profile, the vertical profile of temperature in the eye of the hurricane. So the resolution is good enough where we can actually do that with the Tropics satellites. And that temperature anomaly, this warming aloft in the eye, again, tells us something about the intensity of the hurricane. So that's one example. Another example is the moisture in the environment of the storm. Could facilitate intensification of the storm. So we're trying to study to what extent does environmental moisture impact intensification. And then another example is the structure of the precipitation.
All right, Ash.
We're looking at the symmetry in the rain bands and how that might change and how that could lead to better forecasting of intensification by virtue of looking at how that changes.
And all of this data that's collected by Tropics, you mentioned the revisit rate is kind of something novel about this mission. How will this be correlated into forecasting? I know this is a research mission, but it's natural, I think, to talk about how this is going to improve forecasting and modeling. How could this data do that?
Right. There is a lot of interest from
NASA's
partners like NOAA
link should be up now or soon.
Topics in near real time to
Let me check
actually
over
improve
here.
the forecasting on time scales that are useful for the operational users. So you mentioned Tropics is a NASA research mission, so we have no requirements to do any near real-time processing. However, we are working very closely with partners to certainly do what we can to improve the near real-time use. So, for example, NOAA and the Office of Naval Research are both funding the Tropics project for augmentations to improve the near real-time use. That's outside of the NASA scope of the mission, but we hope that will improve the ability of the forecasters, the Hurricane Center, and others to use the data in near real time to actually help disaster management and so forth.
You mentioned NOAA and the Naval Research Lab. Can you talk about the partners on this mission and what they're bringing to the table? Who built the spacecraft bus? Who's providing each of the the instruments?
Well, one of the most interesting aspects of the mission to me is the team that is making this possible. We've got a broad array of government labs and NASA, NOAA, and universities and commercial partners that are helping us do all this.
Just hopefully this time it doesn't blow up
team, we've got NASA and NOAA,
the payload like it did last time.
Wisconsin, Vanderbilt, MIT, And those folks are tasked with doing the science processing, the algorithm development, and the generation of the geophysical products, the temperatures, the moistures, intensity estimates, and so forth. On the hardware side, we built the microwave radiometer payload at MIT Lincoln Lab, and the CubeSat bus was provided by Blue Canyon Technologies in Boulder, Colorado. And BCT is also doing the mission operations for us. And we're using a host of new commercial providers for these kinds of missions. So a company in Norway called KSAT is providing the ground station downlinks. Astrospace is providing the 3 launches that we need to get us into our very specific orbital configuration. So there's really a really great team that's helped us pull this mission off.
You mentioned the ground station KSAT. Getting access to this data rapidly, I would imagine, is a key part of the utility of this data. How soon after data collection will you be able to get your hands on the information gathered by the TROPICS CubeSats?
Well, so after we launch the CubeSats, and by the way, they'll be launched in pairs. So the first launch will launch the first 2, and then we'll have 2 go up a couple weeks after that, and the final 2 another 2 to 4 weeks after that. So once we have them up, well, then we'll go through a process of commissioning, return on the spacecraft, and check out all the core functionality, bring the payload online, and then we'll start to look at the detailed radiometry, the calibration, and start to validate that. So it'll take us on the order of a month or 2 to work through all those processes for the pairs of satellites.
Let's see
and we're,
when.
Of course, highly motivated to get the data out as soon
Flight
as we can,
test
because we're going to
2,
be in the
that's
throes of
Korea.
hurricane season, right? So there's going to be a
Next
large demand for
Thursday,
that
there's
data.
another launch, but
And
that's
that's
at 10
actually
o'clock
helpful
a.m.
for us
Is
to
this
get
a
the data
return to
into the
station?
hands of the
Because that'd be
users who
cool.
can then tell us how if there
bad
are things that
rocket.
need to be looked at or improved, or tell us how good it is and what we need to do
Nope.
to make it better as we're constantly
Drone
going
ship.
through these optimizations and calibration. So we hope to have it out.
So
in
next
the manner
Thursday we'll have a
of
launch. I'll be at work that day.
And how long is this
Vandenberg.
mission scheduled to last? If all things go well.
Well, our requirement from NASA is to collect science data for 1 year, and we hope to go longer than that. So we've designed the spacecraft to last a bit longer than that, and there's some cases where these CubeSats are lasting 3 years or even more. So we hope that we'll
That's
be up
insane.
significantly longer than the 1 year requirement.
Okay,
You
so we
mentioned
don't know if
launches are
that's going to be a
scheduled few
return to
weeks apart,
station or not.
One potentially this weekend, another in a few weeks. Any particular reason why
one,
you're wanting to get
2.
these launches done in such a quick cadence? From a mission perspective, or is it just that's the way it works out efficiency-wise, is to get them all up as soon as possible?
Yeah, we're motivated to get the constellation deployed and checked out as quickly as possible. So when we have all 6 up there and working together, as well as they can, then we're really, we got the pedal to the metal and getting all the data. And it's
8
the
more
best
launches
possible
by the
configuration.
end
So we're motivated to get that up
of
and
the
running at full
month.
speed as soon as we
Flippin'
can.
A, that's
we're gonna launch
insane.
them together.
And we've seen a lot of these CubeSat type missions launch on ride shares. You're getting a dedicated ride, 3 dedicated rides actually from Astrospace.
That's insane to me just because we're already at like 30 some launches for the year. They're literally trying to break a
there
record
is.
this year of
So
how
we
many
have designed
we
the
can
mission
launch
to
in
use
a year.
very specific orbital configuration. And the reason for that is we're trying to optimize the coverage. So we want to be able to cover the entire tropical cyclone belt from about plus minus 40 latitude. And we want to optimize our revisit rate. So we have a requirement to revisit with a median of 1 hour or better. And we also want to optimize our spatial resolution. So taken together, those set of requirements, the configuration works best if we incline our orbits to 30 degrees with respect to the equator. And use 3 separate orbital planes that are equally spaced. So we want to space out the spacecraft as much as we can. We want to keep them over the tropical cyclone belt. And this orbital configuration lets us do that, but it requires 3 separate dedicated launches, as you mentioned.
I've heard from NASA officials that you really only need 4 of these satellites to meet your minimum mission requirements. You only really need 2 of the 3 launches to be successful. This is a little bit different. I know you don't work from NASA, but from NASA's perspective, it's a little different. I think they often focus on 100% mission success. Can you just talk about maybe your thoughts? What are your thoughts on a risk approach for a mission like this?
The reason why they do that is
Good
because
enough
of
versus perfection.
Well, one of the things that
what
the Constellation
has
did
happened
do
lately
is some
with
resilience and
Astra.
robustness to failure. So we've designed the mission from the ground up to build in, some robustness to failure. So the choice of 6 satellites was made to give us some margin. We only needed 4 to meet our baseline requirements, so we can tolerate failures of the satellite or failures of the launch or whatever, and we can still meet our requirements. So there's some
Hopefully it's
built-in
not a failure
design
today.
to mitigate some of the risks that are inherent in these CubeSat missions, right? Where we don't need a 100% success rate.
What's up,
for
Layden?
overall system success, right? So that makes
How
it,
you doing, buddy?
in some sense, easier to fulfill the mission, even in the face of some of the challenges for things that might.
We
go
got
wrong.
about 30 minutes till lunchtime.
Okay, Dr. Blackwell, thank you for your time.
How's your
That's
weekend
my
going,
pleasure.
bud?
Thank you.
That was William Blackwell, the principal investigator for NASA's TROPICS mission. I had the chance to speak with him a couple of days ago as he talked about the
Hopefully your weekend's going well.
mission, the TROPICS mission, what the
We're just gonna watch this launch, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break, like I posted in the Discord. Went to a band yesterday. What band did you go see? Yeah, we'll take a break, get some lunch, and then we will be back live doing some RP. I think we're gonna jump into Aftermath. Seeing that it's weekend, I know it's gonna be busy. See what kind of fun we can get into, I guess you can say.
29.75 degrees to the equator. And in that
We did find out that one of my friends, Brett Michaels and Molly Hatchet, ooh, that's actually a good fucking lineup. How was it?
which are the most regions of the Earth most prone to tropical cyclone.
But yeah, I found out one of my friends and her
weather in the tropics, hence their name, tropics. And
individuals ended up creating their own server
cyclones around the world, with 6
that I
satellites
just
in orbit.
found out about.
The mission will be up
Used to do a lot of RP with them when I was back in Midwest when I first started out. So we're gonna give that a shot as well.
every hour.
Good, I'm glad you had fun.
Look at tropical cyclones with greater regularity and see their evolution strengthening up close.
That's what you were saying.
Than possible with traditional weather satellites.
I was in Midwest back in beginning of 2020, so around March time frame. March, April, May, June, and then I went on LOA beginning of July. Jumped back in, I want to say August, September-ish, and then left at the end of September. So yeah.
2 of these TROPICS satellites are launching today on the Astra Rocket 3.3 vehicle.
What department were you in,
2 more
Layden?
Astra missions currently scheduled in late June and mid-July currently, with the following 4.
And are you still doing RP? If so, where are you doing it?
Satellites, at least
Yeah, it was actually,
6 TROPICS
I was watching
satellites
Mel's stream last night and found out,
success objectives. This mission is what's known within NASA as a so-called
I was watching Mel's stream and I guess her and Kent and them went out on their own.
are generally less expensive than NASA's more costly one-off satellites.
When were you at Midwest, if you don't mind me asking?
So NASA is accepting a little bit greater risk on this mission and is going into the launch campaign setting mission success criteria for 4 operating satellites or 2 successful launches in this 3-launch campaign.
Yeah, they did it that way because they knew that Astras had issues with their rockets as well as delivering the payload.
This TROPICS mission is called, TROPICS stands for the Time-Resolved Observations of Precipitation Structure and Storm Intensity with a constellation of small sats, hence the name TROPICS. And And the mission has a total cost of around $40 million. That includes about $32 million to develop the instruments and satellites, as well as to pay for 1 year of operations once the spacecraft are in orbit, and another $8 million.
Are you still over there at Midwest, or
that was selected to launch
are you doing RP somewhere else, bud? Yeah, I knew a lot of people over there. Mel, Kent, Ralphie.
A snapshot of current weather conditions at Cape Canaveral show all parameters are green at this time for launch.
I was on BCSO. BCSO, and I did a little bit with SAHP before I left. I also knew Bicoastal Gaming. Okay. Are you still doing RP though? Where are you at now, if you don't mind me asking? Give me 1 second. You're in a lot of FiveM servers? I didn't know if you just had like a main one that you like to RP in.
Now, about 26 minutes until the opening of the launch window, propellant loading is now underway on the Astra's Rocket 3.3 vehicle. The Astra rocket burns a mix of kerosene and liquid oxygen propellants on both stages. And those propellants are now being loaded into the vehicle out at Space Launch Complex 46 here at Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Okay, so we're gonna close this one. I think this one has a better picture of it. New Hanover. I have never heard of it. How do you like it though? How many if you don't mind me asking, how many people are normally on when, like, server population?
Good morning, everyone.
There we go.
Welcome to today's live launch coverage. You are looking live at Space Launch Complex 46 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, where Astra is just under 30 minutes away from conducting today's launch attempt for the first in 3 flights for NASA's TROPICS mission. We are coming to you live today from Astra's headquarters in Alameda, California.
That's
My
not
name is
horrible.
Thomas Burkhart, News Director for NASA Spaceflight, and today I'm joined by Amanda Dirk-Fry, Senior Manager of First Stage and Engine Production here at Astra. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Great, so excited to be here.
What
Astra
departments
NASA
and
Spaceflight
stuff
are
do
once
they
again
have?
partnering to bring you today's webcast, so thank you to Astra for helping make this all happen. Over the course of today's broadcast, as usual, we'll be taking as many of your questions as we can. So if you've got a question about today's flight, please tag us with @NASA Spaceflight in chat. We're going to try to bring as many of those in as we can. To start off, let's get a status update on today's countdown. Amanda, where are we in today's launch attempt?
Well, right now the weather is looking good for the first beginning of our window. However, it will start to deteriorate quickly due to thunderstorms that are starting to roll in. However, for now, we are still proceeding with today's countdown. As Thomas mentioned, today is the first day of our launch window for LV0010. We are back down at Cape Canaveral, where the vehicle is stationed at Space Launch Complex 46.
Awesome.
We have 2 days in our launch
If you
window
would
with
like,
tomorrow as our
go
backup,
ahead
should
and
we be
shoot me a
unable to
message
launch this
on
morning.
Discord
There are many factors that
with
do
their
influence when a
information.
launch can or
I
cannot
need to start
happen,
getting
many of
back into
which are
RP,
entirely
like,
out of our
heavily.
control. These can include weather or third-party activities or even aircraft or boats that are getting too close to our launch site. And our team will not launch if these conditions are not optimal. So we are excited to potentially launch this morning, and should we be delayed for any reason, we will of course provide updates on Twitter at Astra. We would like to also extend a huge shout out and thank you to our partners who helped make the launch of LV0010 happen. These include our partners at Space Launch Delta 45, NASA,
You're welcome.
MIT Lincoln Laboratory, and the FAA, all of whom have been wonderful to work with, and we truly appreciate their ongoing support. And of course, to all of our
That's
Astra
where I
team
belong
members and
to,
their
is
families,
Space
thank
Launch
you to our
Delta
entire team for their
45.
dedication to the mission
That's why I
and
was
for
just
helping
being a
us get
smart
back
ass.
to the pad once again.
As we mentioned earlier, today is the first flight of 3 in support of NASA's TROPICS mission, and we've got a video to highlight the partnership between Astra and NASA on today's flight.
A Pew Research poll showed that of 9 different categories that NASA should focus on, number 1 on the list is to observe the Earth's climate. The TROPICS mission is a mission that Americans really care about because it is directly observing our climate.
TROPICS has a very specific need for their orbital configuration. We need to go to a 30-degree inclined orbit, and no one else really wants to go there. The rideshares are all going to sun-synchronous orbits or mid-inclinations, so it's very well targeted to a smaller vehicle with a very targeted insertion.
Yeah, I'm well over 18.
So being able to launch
Which was funny
3
this
different
morning
times
because I
at
was
$1
being a
million
smart ass with my wife because I noticed I have like this huge patch of gray on my beard.
At a low cost.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna be salt and peppered by the time
NASA having the opportunity
I'm freaking
to
35.
fly satellites for the organization I used to work for is personally gratifying for me. It's also a really important mission because we can detect tropical storms, we can help people evacuate, we can save lives, and it's a mission that's really well designed for Astra's capability, being able to put multiple rockets up into multiple planes rapidly.
And we have the honor of being
I appreciate it,
the
Layden.
final and most important piece at this moment in time of their mission, which is get that hardware in space.
Awesome.
Exactly where it is today.
Medics and probably
We see
fire,
that
right?
There are increasingly smaller satellites that are smarter, that are doing cool things in orbit, but they need to go to particular destinations at particular times.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it. I see that they have a live section for the individuals that are going live and everything, so I'm gonna check that out.
And those have the advantage of being able to penetrate the cloud tops and see the storm thermodynamics underneath the clouds. We're going to get something we've never had before in the history of weather satellites, which is revisit rates of better than 1 hour.
For the team itself, this will be a massive culmination of the last 3 years of work of developing this launch system to be able to do these things that we set out to do from the very beginning.
From Astra's perspective, it's really important because
That way I can get an idea of
space
what
and scale.
what you
And
guys
to do
have
that, you
in
have much more
server as
frequent
well as
launches
different
and
things.
access to space. And so this has been an opportunity for us to really
And then I can get
how
a
can we
whitelisted app
further
put in.
compress the turnaround
I'm still
time
waiting to hear
between
back
launches,
from
both in
Mel
terms
and
of
them on my
rockets and in
other
conducting
one.
launches.
So,
What this milestone means for us is delivering a really important mission for our customer. but also
possibly
demonstrating the
after
capability
we do the
that others
launch.
can leverage in the future.
And so the opportunity to be a part of something like Tropics, where you get to make a difference and make a really large impact in the lives of people and help humanity as a whole, does mean a lot to me, and it really excites me as well going into this mission, knowing that we can help do something to make the world a better, safer place for people.
I just find it insane how small this rocket is compared to like
So, Amanda, why don't
SpaceX
you
and
recap
everything
for us
else.
what the goals of today's launch are?
Right, so LV0010 marks
Dang.
Astra's second mission with NASA, and it is the first of 3 launches to deliver the NASA TROPICS satellites to low Earth orbit. Our objective
me a
for today
second.
is to successfully deliver our customers 2 identical CubeSats to an orbit of 550 kilometers at a 29.75 degree inclination relative to the Earth's equator. They are about 3U in size, which means each one is about the size of a loaf of bread. So pretty small CubeSats, and if all goes well, we should be able to see one of our 2 payloads deploy through our onboard upper stage cameras, yet it is possible that we will not have confirmation for up to 90 minutes, or at least a couple of orbits, as the satellites pass over their ground networks. This is not unusual, since it is due entirely to where the satellites are located within their orbit at the time of deployment, relative to their corresponding ground communication links. So we will end the live broadcast shortly after payload deployment, and ask that you follow on Twitter at NASA Earth or
All right,
at NASA
I am back.
_NSP
That's
for
awesome that you got that
confirmation
for
of
your
satellite communications.
birthday. Did you end up getting
Astra
it
will
put
also
in
share from
to
our
your
Twitter
computer?
handle as soon as we have confirmed with our partners at NASA.
Or do you need help with that, or
Before we go any further, we also want to recognize Dr. Gail Skowronek Jackson.
you want to sit with me?
She was the program
Cool.
scientist at NASA headquarters for the Tropics mission and sadly passed away in 2021. Her focus
So
area
that's
was
a rocket
weather
that
within the
they're
Research
gonna
and
try to
Analysis
launch
program of
today.
the Earth Sciences Division under the Science Mission Directorate. We have a
Oh,
video
awesome.
in honor of Dr. Skowronek Jackson to show here.
Why?
Why what?
There are many,
It's
many
following
reasons
me.
why
It's
I
copying
want
me.
Gail. For her friendship, for
That
her
is you.
leadership,
Why
her
is it
science,
copying
and her driven
Because
nature,
it's
and really just her
streaming.
thoughtfulness as a person and as a scientist.
I worked with
What?
Gail on the communications for the GPM launch, and
She finds it
she
weird
was always so
that
wonderful to work with.
the
I feel
computer's
like
copying
I really
her
learned how to,
'cause it's
you know,
streaming.
communicate what we needed for telling great stories about the satellite, and I remember just how she lit up when she was talking about it.
So you can see
Yeah,
these
if you ever
small
need
scale
help,
systems
like
at a
being like walk you
resolution of
through
about 10
putting
kilometers
stuff
by
on
10
your computer and stuff like that, I'm definitely willing to help on that as well.
On all levels, an outstanding friend, a great person to talk to when you have problems, always willing to listen, and I'm certainly going to miss her dearly, as I'm sure everybody else will.
She was a tremendous scientist in the field of snow remote sensing. She led GPM
Snow remote
to
sensing,
its
what is
success,
that?
working with a multidisciplinary and diverse team. And she worked to encourage and expand our team and being mindful of diversity and inclusion within the GPM and the broader program.
Yeah, my
She
little
needs
one
some very big
definitely
shoes to
likes
fill, and
games
she has
and
provided a
computers
stellar
and stuff
example
like that,
of
so
how we should
I
be
see her
carrying out science and getting
following
the
in
work
her
of NASA
daddy's
done.
footsteps, being a weirdo on streams.
Hey, you're weird.
How am I weird? You're being a goofball laying down.
Well,
So
you're the
thank
weird.
you to the NASA and Astra folks for their partnership on today's webcast, and of course
Hey,
recognizing
it's the
Dr. Skowronek
weirdo.
Jackson there.
Hey,
we're going to go ahead and get into some questions here. We're about T-minus 19 minutes and counting. Everything appears
Do you
on
want to go
track
get
so
your
far
small
for the
chair and bring
opening of
it in here,
today's
and you can
window.
sit over here
Of course, the
and
focus
watch
of
the
every
rocket
launch
launch?
is the payloads that are on board. So our first question here from Carson is, are
'Cause
these
it's-
satellites CubeSats on
it's-
board today's flight, Amanda?
Too
Yes.
too
the
cloudy
satellites
for
on
us to
board
see from
are,
the house today,
are
huh?
CubeSats. They are
Yeah.
two identical 3U CubeSats that contain a dual spinning
Cloudy.
motor and a
It's gonna
compact
rain
microwave
and it's
spectrometer.
gonna storm.
The purpose of these are to penetrate through the cloud layer of developing or active
No, not while the
storm fronts
rocket's
and
there. Actually,
provide
right after the
near-hourly
rocket launches,
imagery
it's
of the
supposed to
storm's
start
progression,
raining and stuff.
including
So
data on
Why?
precipitation,
kind of like
temperature,
what it
and
did the other day.
humidity. So these
Remember
CubeSats
that?
will help scientists and meteorologists understand how
You saw my
storms
hands
form,
right there?
grow,
Yeah.
and
Why?
intensify throughout their life cycle, helping them to better detect and understand tropical storms better. NASA has an incredible mission.
She got to
overview
see her
about these
first
small
live
satellites that
launch,
you can find a link to at
when was it?
astra.com
Thursday?
/mission/tropics-1.
No, Wednesday. Wednesday, she got to see her first live
Awesome. And of course,
launch.
today's flight is the first of 3 missions for the Tropics program. There are
She
2
didn't like
satellites
the
on board Today.
noise.
6
Yeah,
satellites are
it's
planned
too
in total across the
loud.
3
I don't
flights,
like it.
all launching from here at Cape Canaveral.
It's okay.
Today's
What's the
first
Remy?
flight
That you're
on
being
schedule
loud.
so far. Again, if you're just joining us, the launch window opens at 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time or noon Eastern over at local time in Cape Canaveral, which is just under 18 minutes away from now. Keep the questions coming in chat. If you've got them, we'll try to answer
Yellow
as many of those
me
as
to
we
a little
can.
bit loud.
One of the questions we're seeing in chat here is, where is Carolina today? Of course, we've seen Amanda on the coverage before. We've definitely interviewed her
Yeah,
before.
she's definitely
but first time hosting, so
A
congratulations,
goofball,
Amanda.
like her father.
I do believe we do know where
Green
Carolina is
means
today,
good.
though.
Yes, yes. So she's not here for a very great reason today. So Karen.
There are many, many
Oh,
reasons
look at the
why
baby.
I
It's
will
Friday
miss
on
Gail.
June 3rd. So Carolina and family are at home resting and recovering, very well deserved. So huge congratulations to her from our entire Astra family. But yeah, so she is at home right now.
Yeah, I see her
enjoying
being the
and,
goofball
cheering on
that ends up
Tropics
streaming
from
and doing
at
a
home.
lot better than Daddy does. Huh.
Awesome. So congratulations to Carolina and her family, of course. Some other questions coming in here. I've got one saying, how much does a rocket weigh, Amanda?
How much does it weigh?
I use
So the
Streamlabs
vehicle
OBS.
weighs
Studio for some
approximately
reason won't
2,400
download on my
pounds
computer.
at
Please stop.
when it is dry. So that is just the dry
hurting
weight
my leg.
of the vehicle. Which, doing a quick Google search before this, did find out that that is roughly the weight of an unfueled Toyota Yaris. And then
What?
we do add about 2,400 pounds worth of propellant to the vehicle. So in total,
What
we're
do you
looking at around
do? You use
2,600
OBS Studios?
26,000
I used to
pounds.
use
I'm
OBS
sorry,
Studios on my last
24,000
computer.
pounds of propellant. So doing some back of the envelope.
This is what happens when the kid gets a hold of the
calculations,
Stream
that's
Deck.
about the equivalent of a Toyota Yaris carrying around 4 female elephants. And another fun fun fact
Daddy
that
has
I'm
a
going
small
to like to
Stream
share
Deck.
about the vehicle is that the wall
That
thickness
maybe
to
when you
diameter
get older,
ratio
you can
of
have.
the rocket is actually similar to that of a soda can.
All right, there we go. Thank you to Judah for submitting that question to us here.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can
Let's
definitely help
see.
you with it.
So again,
I can
15
walk you
minutes
through
to
it
go
and everything
here.
else.
Everything on track so far. We'll keep some questions coming. Mitch Bunks asks,
Nope,
is this
stop,
an instantaneous
stop.
launch
I
window?
just
I believe
love
not,
those.
right, Amanda?
They're my favorite.
We have a 2-hour
No,
launch window,
you
I
don't.
believe?
Yeah, today's launch window is 2 hours. As we mentioned at the beginning, there is a small window at the beginning where the weather does look
I'm gonna
favorable.
be.
However, there are thunderstorms that are rolling in, so the weather
So,
will continue to quickly deteriorate. as
After
we get
this,
into
I'm
this
gonna get some
morning.
food.
We'll keep an eye on
Then
that. Of
we're gonna
course,
do
if there are
no.
any updates regarding the weather.
One more,
we will
just one
definitely
more.
provide
Sorry.
those, but count proceeding towards the opening so far. Let's see.
Then
some
we're
other
gonna
questions
do
here.
RP, and then in the Discord
we talked
we're
about earlier, Brett
gonna
asking what direction is this
do
launch going.
the
So today's
race.
target orbit is a 29-degree inclination just about, which is pretty much due east from Cape Canaveral. We actually
I know
saw
they're cool looking, aren't they?
a graphic earlier showing the launch trajectory zones going east of Cape Canaveral. There it is.
No.
That is the path the rocket is planned to take, east of Cape Canaveral towards that orbit. That's actually why this mission is launching from Cape Canaveral. It's because it's targeting
it's just
that
that
sort of mid-inclination orbit, which is different from Kodiak, where Astra also launches, where that's more favorable for polar launches or sun-synchronous launches.
Daddy,
Which
this one is.
which one did you join? Because I know Layden just no. You're gonna sit on.
So as you can just see, the countdown is just held at T-minus 15 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and look for some more information on that. We'll provide an update as soon as we have it.
All the way up RP. Send me their information as well, Fire. No. Hold on. No. Stop for right now.
Hey, stop touching me with that.
How'd you like it, Fire Streaming? Did they have a lot of good stuff in there? Yeah, send me their Discord or their link or whatever I need to get in there on Discord. Yeah, Billy Bob has a car and was working on getting his trucking license. Nice. I got the kid, I got the dog in here.
Even Luna.
Oh, I got both dogs in here. Hi, Luna. The only one I'm missing is the wife. But she's getting...
That's
the
in Carson's room.
Yeah, she's getting the stepson's room ready. Hold on. Stop.
Tango and 81 managed pulling, cruise target, do both ground and guidance pulling to put the vehicle back in its nominal state.
81 managed pulling, do both ground and guidance. Set to true.
I know, right? I mean, I want to do both, but if I do it, I don't want to crim in the same place that I am legit. Know what I mean? Will it fly? That's the question. That's any of the Astra missions. That's
Step
what it
69,
really is.
Delphin, can you confirm that the Delphin system looks ready for launch?
That's yours because you left it in there.
Dolphin confirms. Good for launch.
Okay.
Step 70, orbit. Can you confirm the ether is ready for launch?
No, because my knee hurts right now.
Ether's ready for launch.
Tango in machine Ox 1 ISO control, set high pressure target to 90 psi.
Camera's still not working.
I know, I gotta get it fixed.
High pressure target 90.
Daddy, no, I'm choosing.
Step 72, Tango verify vehicle looks okay for launch aside from tank levels and pressures.
Anywhere. Confirmed. Vehicle looks good.
What is this? Doing this?
And step 73, GNC confirm wind profiles are still acceptable for launch at this time.
Confirmed.
Okay, this takes us to our water test, step 74.
We have
Tango
a lot of
water
pencils.
1 water system, toggle prime to true to begin flowing water up to the deluge system.
I can't grab one.
Water 1 water system. Prime to true.
Hold on, back up, back up. I actually want to see how many non-sharpened pencils we have.
Why did you take mine? Wait. That's rude.
Why do I have so much stuff in here?
And why do you have a on?
1, 2.
So while teams are working to resolve this hold at T-minus 15 minutes, and again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, we do have a couple more questions coming in. So let's start with this one from Don, which asks, what is the thrust of this rocket, Amanda?
So the first stage of the rocket has a total combined thrust of 32,500 pounds to lift us up from the launch pad, and then our upper stage has 740 pounds of thrust.
Nice.
And what fuel combination is producing that thrust?
Yeah, so we use the same type of fuel propellant on both the first stage and the upper stage, and so that is a combination of liquid oxygen and RPX, which is a highly refined form of kerosene.
Gotcha.
Gotta love the kid. No, don't be
so
changing
those fuel
stuff,
engines
please.
are all on the Rocket 3 vehicle that we're looking right now.
Because that's
John
not the
asking
right
what
remote.
rocket
Please
Chopper's
stop.
been sitting on. I believe even specifically it's Rocket 3.3, but can you give us just an overview of the launch vehicle that is launching today?
Yeah, so Rocket 3 is a two-stage launch vehicle.
What's
here
up,
you can
Ashwin?
see in the expanded diagram, you can see all the major sub-assemblies of both the first
I got
stage
the little
and
crazy
the upper
kid in
stage.
here.
So we could step through them one by one. So starting at the aft end, which is the far left side of
She
the
says she's
diagram,
not
you
crazy.
see the
What
first
the hell
stage
is
engine bay.
this?
And so on the engine bay, there are
Oh, I know what
5
that is.
electric pump-fed first-stage engines. Each one provides around 6,500 pounds of thrust. So as I said earlier, for a total of 32,500 pounds to lift the rocket.
Yeah, totally.
And surrounding the engine bay is some thermal protection,
I'm
mostly
organizing
just
stuff.
to protect
You can
the
take one
engine
of them. Go ahead.
controllers and onboard computers from the high heat environment during launch. Moving towards the forward end, you see the large cylindrical section there, which is the first stage propellant storage. And so that is a fully welded structure that's fabricated here in-house in Alameda. All those sheet metal components
Alameda?
arrive as rolled sheets of aluminum, and our first stage production technicians perform
Isn't
a
that
longitudinal
California, not
friction
Florida?
stir weld up each seam before sequentially joining each one together
Actually,
via
where is
circumferential
Astra
TIG welding
based
operations.
out of?
And that is how it forms the fuel and liquid oxygen tank. And you can actually see some really great videos and images of our team at work on these exact operations by searching #FactoryFriday on LinkedIn to see some of our posts. And although the tank looks like one large volume, it is actually split into 2 separate tanks. One is for the RPX, which is that highly refined form of kerosene, and that one sits closest to the engine bay. And then
I know you
liquid
don't. I'm
oxygen.
looking.
And
Oh,
you
they're in
can see
Alameda,
the
California.
delineation line between the two as
So
the
I
liquid
was
oxygen
right.
tank forms that thin layer of frost on the exterior due to the cryogenic fluids inside. And so you can see that on the live video feed of the rocket over on the right-hand side there. Continuing our way towards the forward end, that conical section is called the inner stage. And that's what houses many of our onboard avionics.
How's your morning
components.
going,
There's radar
Ashwing?
on there, antenna, even some cameras that look down the length of the first stage during flight. And again, this is a fabricated sheet metal assembly, and it does have additional structural supports in there, as that is how the upper stage is secured to the first stage during flight. And that takes us to the upper stage, which is that assembly that looks like stacked spheres on this far right side of the image. The upper stage also uses RPX and liquid oxygen as its main propellants, and that one has a single engine, which is pressure fed and can provide
I can understand that.
40 pounds of thrust. The upper stage gets nestled into the inner stage during flight until main engine cutoff, when
You're
the first stage
making an
releases
alien,
the
or
upper
you
stage
are
for
an
its final
alien?
segment of flight. And if you look back
Okay,
at the
excuse me.
first stage tank, you can see on the LOX dome those fingers that are sticking out. Those fingers actually do help to support the upper stage engine during the high vibrations during the first stage portion of the flight. And then lastly, we have the fairings, which are those two
Why
clamshell
is there a
structures
hockey
that
puck
go
in here?
around the upper stage and payload and protect it during flight.
go
and then those
get
will
your
pop open
go do
just
that
after
out
main
there
engine
then,
cutoff
if you're gonna
for,
color.
release of the upper stage. And then if you do see on the right-hand image, the upper
Both,
stage,
yeah,
or sorry,
I
the
know
inner stage
the
and
feeling.
fairings are also white, but that is not due to the similar frosty effect of the liquid oxygen tank. Those have a thermal protection on them to protect the payload from the aerodynamic heating that is caused by the compression of air as the vehicle moves through the atmosphere. So that is Rocket 3. Overall, we're able to deliver 25 to 150 kilograms to a 500-kilometer sun-synchronous orbit with
Found
this
a hard
vehicle.
drive.
And a majority of these parts are produced here in-house in Alameda. I would absolutely love to give shout-outs to every one of the technicians and engineers that help us build these vehicles. Yeah, we are on the clock this morning, so as I mentioned, please take a look at hashtag Factory Friday on our social media sites, where you can see
Yeah, nothing
some
like
of our
finding a
technicians
random
at
SSD
work,
hard drive
building all the various
for a
structures
laptop.
of this vehicle.
Ashwing.
And if you've not also seen it before, please be sure to check out the factory tour that NASA Spaceflight took with our Vice President of Operations, Bryson Gentile, last year. It's a great look at some of the incredible things our production teams are building here in Alameda.
Absolutely.
Nobody
I'm looking
likes
forward to version
California.
2
Nobody
of that
wants to
factory
see
tour
that.
because the factory has changed a lot since that video
It
as
has.
well. So looking forward to maybe revisiting that as well. We do have a brief update on the hold. Again, we're holding at T-minus 15
Yeah, why
minutes,
are we
and it is
holding
now
at
confirmed.
15?
The hold is due to some boats in the safety hazard area.
Fucking
so we'll
boats.
provide some updates as the
Hey.
range and the Astra teams work that issue. In the meantime, we'll happily take some more questions. So again, if you've got questions about today's mission, please test with @NASA Spaceflight, and we're trying to bring as many of those in as we can. We are keeping an eye on the weather as this hold continues, hoping to get this resolved as quickly as possible, of course.
I gotta make sure that it's
but let's see what other questions we
wiped
have.
before I do anything. That's for sure.
Here's a good question. Amanda, is there any particular reason that this hold is happening at exactly at the 15-minute mark, or is that just kind of a convenient time?
Good question. Nobody has a clue. Kai, stop.
No particular reason. We'll keep providing some more updates as we have them. But again, if you have any questions, please tag @NASA Spaceflight in chat.
So many random.
In the meantime, let's go ahead and listen into the pad microphone as the teams
Shut
work
up,
this issue.
Ashworth.
Again, we're going to wait for another update as we have them.
Hey, Fire, I found a 10mm finally. And all my thumb drives. What is that? Something I don't need. What's up, Renee? What's up, Sarge? How you doing today? You behaving? Probably not. We're hoping that this rocket actually launches. But I guess there's boats in the area, as well as the weather that's moving into the area. So it's going to be a 50-50 shot. I'm doing well. Could be worse. Could be better.
What is this?
That's not for you. That's what that is.
But I want to know what it is.
I want you to stop yelling at me. Hi, honey.
Daddy, I can sharpen all the pencils.
No, don't sharpen all the pencils.
I got one more.
Not yet, cause I don't know when I'm gonna be streaming NASCAR. There was a big thing last night that
Oh, a fish is going to grab a pencil.
just not these ones, okay?
Why?
Because these are gonna be saved for when you go back to school.
Oh, also, these rats.
Those are fine. Those ones are not fine.
I am going to
Do you have Ignition, Leiden? The new NASCAR Ignition game? Right? It always seems that the boats fuck up the launches the most. It's not like aircraft in the area screw it up as much. It's normally normally the boats, to be honest, and the boats are a pain in the ass because none of them pay attention to the notices that go out, which they always send out. Hey, I found another rank. See what happens, Sarge, when I frickin' clean out my desk and stuff? I find rank insignia and a bunch of other random stuff that I may or may not have been looking for weeks or
Disaster
months.
Flight on countdown. We have cleared the final clear to launch pole. New T0 is 1612 UTC.
Oh, cool. Boats
Step
are out of the
AB
area.
Tango in AB1 managed power systems. Toggle ground power system authority to true.
Ground power system authority true.
In AV1 managed polling, toggle do both ground and guidance polling to true.
Both ground and guidance.
If you ever end up
GNC, do you
getting it,
require an
Layden,
additional
let me
self-test at
know.
this time?
We'll definitely raise
Yes, please.
some ignition.
In VB1 turn on off PDBs, Tango, please toggle GNC self-test to true. GNC call out upon completion.
What's this?
Okay.
Not needed, that's
GNC
what that is.
self-test started.
It is. It's called Ignition. They're starting to work on getting the next gen car in there and everything else. A lot of people say they don't like it. I've been growing more accustomed to it, I would say. It's a little bit more realistic than Heat 5, which I enjoy the more realism and stuff like that along those lines. So, it all just depends on what
Copy,
you
FTS
like.
Confirm that the FTS is still enabled.
I can check real quick.
Copy. Tango and Fuel 4 operate.
Let me check.
Please toggle full and fast to true.
For operate full true.
Just 1, 2, 3, 4. I just had to make some holes.
It's probably going to pull up on this screen because this is my main screen.
Alright, so as you may have just heard, we have a new T0. The
Okay.
countdown has resumed. Just under 11 minutes to go. The new T0 is 9:12 a.m. Pacific time or 12:12 p.m. Eastern time, 1612 UTC. The range has cleared that boat in the hazard area, and everything now on track for launch in just under 11 minutes. So we should be now coming up on the go, no-go poll for today's flight. So let's go ahead and listen into the countdown as the teams work through the final 10 minutes of the count.
One new item in my county farmhouse store.
Currently not an idle.
Please set to idle.
Setting to idle.
No, it is the
Please-
please set
$44.99.
Fuel 4 operate to
I
idle.
can
Or
try
sorry,
to find
stand down
out
now.
where I got mine from and get that sent over to you.
Please make sure pump battery 2, manage pump battery charge is in idle.
Because I think I got it for like $10 bucks. GTA. Awesome. I will take a look at that right now. Seeing that I have it open on this side. No, that's the NASCAR 15. No, that's not it.
Go.
That was loud. Layden, I'll show you which one it is. It's that. If you're still here, bud. Oh, G2A normally has good ones. Yeah. I just have to look and see which
Tango in zero,
one
machine
it
activator,
was that
toggle launch machine.
I got it
true.
from.
Zero machine activator, launch machine is true.
Yeah.
Tango, activate launch machine.
Launch machine is active.
Toggle locks topping to true.
Lock stopping, true.
Takes us to step 90. This is the poll for tank pressurization and launch.
How many poles do you need?
Payload.
If you need help
confirm there are no concerns for flight,
look for the
and that the payload is ready.
And put that in and out
Payload
stuff.
ready.
And it will give
Copy.
you a lot list.
Ask
Okay,
the team,
cool.
after this point, any system
What?
issue must be called as a hold on the countdown net. If there are no concerns for flight, call go. Otherwise, no go. Red lead.
Red lead is go.
FTS.
FTS is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
Athena.
Go.
FAO.
FAO is go.
CDH.
CDH is go.
Tango.
Tango is go.
Astra Safety.
Safety is go.
Flight is also go. Tango, verify that the vehicle still looks ready for launch aside from tank press and final topping.
Confirmed. LCCs are met.
Alright, Fire. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it here in a few minutes. So that's one drawer cleaned out. Holy shit. I actually have room now. I have that as well, too.
Alright, so the teams have pulled go for today's launch attempt. Under 7 minutes to go. Really quick, let's go ahead and preview what we're expecting to see in just under 7 minutes. Amanda?
I just don't
So
play it very often.
Zero, the first stage engines will fire at the full 32,500 pound thrust to start LV0010's journey towards space. Just 6 seconds into the flight, the onboard guidance will start to pitch the vehicle over towards its orbital trajectory. And just over 1 minute into flight is where the vehicle will reach max Q. This is a really important milestone that tests the structural integrity of the first stage body during flight. It is the period of maximum aerodynamic load on the vehicle.
Q.
At the 3 minute mark, we will have reached main engine cutoff, or MECO as it will be called out, which is where the first stage engines will receive the command to shut down, allowing the vehicle to briefly coast before stage separation. From there, we have a series of 3 closely timed events. The fairings will pop open and fall away from the vehicle, immediately followed by
I've got a
stage
stick of
separation,
RAM.
which is when the first stage releases the upper stage into
The
the
random
atmosphere
things.
and concludes the first stage milestones for the flight. And just around 3 minutes 15 seconds, the upper stage engine will ignite and be on its way to delivering our customer's payload to orbit. After a roughly 5 minute flight, the upper stage will receive the command to shut down its engine, followed by payload deployment. As we mentioned earlier, we are hoping to see one of the 2 payloads being deployed through the upper stage onboard cameras. However, it is possible that it can take up to 90 minutes or a couple of orbits of the satellites in order to have this confirmed. And that is entirely foreseen. This is due to the nature of the ground links relative to the satellite's location in orbit once the deployment occurs. So we will be ending the live stream broadcast as soon as deployment happens, and likely before the satellite communication has been confirmed. But please remember to follow NASA's Twitter handle at NASA Earth for confirmation once the satellite communication has been received. And we will also provide an update on our handle at Astra when we have confirmed with our NASA partners.
Awesome. And at T-minus 5 minutes of counting, we also should quickly just acknowledge that the new mission control look, which may have looked different from last time.
I was going to say, it
Amanda,
looks
you want to talk a little bit
totally
about why
different.
mission control here in Alameda looks a little different today?
Yeah, so our mission control has gotten an upgrade. A lot of that is trying to improve our operational efficiency and streamline our processes. It
The
used to
crazy
take
part
6
is
plus
mission
team
control
members, and
is
now we've
in
gotten it down to
Alameda,
4
California,
key team members,
and they're
in the mission
launching
control
from
pod, and these pods
Florida.
are portable as well, so we can perform mission control from anywhere that we need to.
That's awesome. So about 4.5 minutes to go here, and everything appears on track for launch. So with that, let's go ahead and listen into the countdown net. We'll listen to the teams go through the final steps for launch. Of course, myself and Amanda will provide any updates as we have them, but
You
let's
can look
listen
at it,
in
don't mess
as
with
the
it, though.
first Tropics flight approaches liftoff.
– 4 minutes till launch. Yes.
How do you turn it off?
Honey. We
Rock,
have
light on
USB
countdown.
ports.
First step 94, please verify range is recording telemetry at this time.
Nope.
Telemetry recorders are running.
Copy, thank you.
Okay.
And reminder to control room, if you require RF data, be prepared to switch over your pages at liftoff.
Yeah, that's weird. I just randomly found a stick of RAM in my drawer. That's always appealing, I guess. I don't know. My random ass adapters, too. I have no idea what that.
Reminder to all that any 3-word hold from here on out is an immediate abort regardless of source. And MIFCO, please be prepared
No.
to issue option when
Stop.
rocket IIP marker passes MIN-MECO
Stop.
and is within dispersed trajectories, calling out at event.
MIFCO copies.
2 minutes. 2.5. You want to come watch this launch, or you...
Start PSD recordings and downrange ground station recordings at this time.
Will do.
The random green generator sitting right next to the rocket, that doesn't pose a
2 minutes
issue in my eyes.
2 minutes and counting. Everything on track so far.
But that's just me.
Hold, hold, hold.
Pulling it apart.
I'm trying to figure out why he said hold, hold, hold. He said hold, 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 but the countdown continues. That, to me, does not make any sense.
Okay, so as you may have just heard, a hold was called on the countdown net, so we're going to stand by for another update to see what the issue the teams may be working is. We'll provide that update as soon as we have it, but again, the count has entered a hold.
Which means there's a good chance that Astra failed another launch. Well, that's not yours. Hey, sweetie. Mommy just cleaned his room. I don't think it's right that you're messing with his stuff. He might be dead. Because he's not here to share them with you. Oh, I thought that said the countdown has been held again. That would have been fucking hilarious. I don't know what that is. Can I see it? Let me see. The batteries might actually be dead.
Can I get the batteries?
Can you go get... Hold on. Hold on. You don't even know how many to get. Four. Four AA.
Wait, is it supposed to be golden?
The ones that we have are silver.
Okay.
Just go tell mommy you need 4 AA. I'm hoping she'll know what I'm talking about. It does not look good. I don't think the rocket's gonna launch today, sweetie.
That's why I didn't want to see it.
Why? Because you didn't think it was gonna launch?
Yeah.
It's sad that my 6-year-old knows that Astro rockets are crap.
Okay, I hope this works. I got a job to do.
Let me see.
Let me press the button.
I just don't know which one it's supposed to be in. Hold on. Let me see this. Are you doing that?
Oh, he can't work it. Oh, he's...
These batteries might be dead too.
He's working! He's moving!
I know, but he's going on his own, right?
Stop!
Hold on, sweetie. These batteries might be bad too.
How many?
I'm finding out.
Okay, then, video. You're cute.
Ow.
You know me, okay? I know I'm not your owner. I know you're talking to me, but you're almost here.
Yeah, because she doesn't miss her brother at all.
I do miss my brother.
It was a joke.
I miss him so much. I want him to come back. To Florida. I want you to visit me. Guess what we're going to do? Do on Princess and on April Fool's Day.
2 AAA.
2 of those.
The small ones. Actually, this might not be dead. No, but I might as well just change them out anyways. Give me a second. The 6-year-old doesn't know where everything's at yet. which is a good thing. No, leave the cat alone. Put the cat down. I said put the cat down, not throw the cat down.
Sorry, Mike. I wonder how... Do not move, baby Yoda. Know this is your first time having a teeth. Know it's your first time having a
I do have a smaller one, thank God.
Do not move, baby Yoda.
You gotta take it out there though, remember? I'm going to assume that it was held because of that damn cruise ship right there. Not being outside of the safety zone. Seeing that it's an eastern
We do
range.
have an update for you. We are still holding to complete final locks conditioning, and so once that is complete, we will likely get a new T0 time shortly from Mission Control for you.
Yeah, we'll keep the updates coming again as soon as we have them, everyone. Holding at T-minus 31 seconds, expecting a recycle for a new T0 shortly. Also, in the meantime, while we wait for that recycle, we'll go ahead and take some more questions. First off, I'll just start with one off the screen. No, that cruise ship is not violating the range right now.
Okay.
That ship in the background is not within the protected launch corridor. It's beyond where the rocket plane trajectory is, so no worries there. But feel the need to adjust that since it's on screen. But otherwise, we've got some other questions to come in while we wait for this hold to clear. So let's start with this one here. Scrubs asks, what kind of material is the vehicle made out of, Amanda?
Yeah, so a lot of our first stage structure is made out of aluminum. We try not to have any exotic materials on the vehicle that are difficult to obtain or hard to machine.
Aluminum,
that really helps to ensure that the vehicle is scaled for manufacturability.
Gotcha. Another question from Sergeant Scott is, how tall is the rocket and is it heading to orbit today?
So the vehicle is 43 feet in length, so it is able to fit into a standard 45-foot shipping container, which makes it very easy for portability to our various space ports. And our launch attempt today is, countdown will be resuming soon, and so once that happens, our targeted orbit for this mission is to deliver the Tropics 1 payloads to the 550-kilometer orbit at, again, that 29.75 orbital inclination relative to the equator.
Gotcha.
They're attempting. Just the
yeah, so
attempts
on the
aren't
screen
going
here we
very
can
well.
actually see that graphic of the planned launch trajectory. It's pretty much due east out of Cape Canaveral within that kind of safety corridor. And then if we go back to that camera that showed the cruise ship, that's looking south, actually towards Port Canaveral. For those of you that live or have been around the Canaveral area may know what I'm talking about. That is south, whereas the rocket will be flying kind of left out of frame from this view to the east. So again, just reiterating that the cruise ship is not anywhere it's not
Makes
supposed to
sense
be
now.
and is not a problem for today's flight. The current hold is to complete final liquid oxygen conditioning on the vehicle. So waiting for a new T0 regarding that as well. But in the meantime, more questions. We do have a funny question here. Musical Wolves, a regular in the chat, who says, are the mysterious 4 towers portable for Astra, since the rocket and ground equipment are portable? I don't think the lightning protection towers are some of the things that Astra ships out, right?
Those are not. That is part of the permanent infrastructure at the Space Launch Complex.
Gotcha. Always got to ask about the towers, though. It's a rule around here. We do have a quick question here from Dag, who asks, when does the launch window close? Today's launch window extends until 2 p.m. Eastern Time, or 1800 UTC. So we're still pretty early in the launch window, and hoping for a quick recycle at a new T0 here shortly.
Final LOX conditioning.
While we wait for another update on this hold, again, hoping that it'll clear soon, but we're going to go ahead and take a break and wait for another update. We'll provide that as soon as we have it.
You would have thought they would have done that prior to all this. I mean, worst case scenario, we do the race and then we stream RP. That'll give me a chance to take a look at Leiden, your server, as well as fire streaming the server that you're in, and all that, and then I can eat too at the same time. LG, last time I had an LG was like years ago. Why the fuck do I still have the charger for it? Ha! Found my coin from when I was in Korea. Certification of competency. There's my OSHA card. Don't think I need that anymore. Don't need that either. That can be shredded. That can be shredded. That I need to keep. I'm just going through my wallet while we're waiting, you know? My old wallet, actually. Now it can actually be tossed. That card I do need to keep. This one I don't. Keep. No. Baby Yoda's coming for you. My daughter's playing with my son's animatronic Baby Yoda that we got him. Which is hilarious right now. We are in a hold right now. Again, LAX, or not LAX. Astra 3 is having issues with the LOX conditioning of the rocket launch vehicle. The window does expand until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the launch. If it does get pushed that late, or here for a little bit, there's a good chance that it could end up getting scrubbed due to weather, which I am pulling up right now. Because they are at Cape. There we go, Cape Canaveral. They do say there's storms rolling in, but I don't see them rolling in until until after 3, so the launch window should be good. I will be right back. I do need to use the restroom. I'll see you in a few. what have I missed? I don't even know. Yeah, weather-wise, it doesn't look bad. Weather-wise, it actually looks pretty decent for an actual launch to happen. But it's all going to be dependent on how long this LOX takes. So they're basically conditioning the liquid oxygen tanks right now, which I don't understand why it's taking so long.
Okay, so you can see we're still holding here. We're waiting for this hold to be resolved, but Amanda, I do believe we have an update regarding the weather for today's attempt.
Yeah, so we have recently heard from the range that we are good for another 20 minutes. After then, the weather will become too difficult for us to be able to likely proceed with today's launch.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that, but it looks like we've got at least another 20 minutes to go. So hopefully, if this recycle can occur a little bit quickly, we should still have another chance to launch today. So again, keeping an eye on that, and we'll provide more updates as we have them.
It does not look good for Astra.
In the meantime, I think the audio cut out earlier, so I want to ask this question again. Earlier, we had that hold at T-minus 15 minutes. Do you want to talk a little bit about why that was the hold point?
Right, yeah, so the T-minus 15 mark is when we enter our terminal count, and that is a really important milestone. That's when we can start to transfer the control over to the vehicle. It's also where we would likely revert back to in case of a recycle. And another key milestone is at approximately 10 minutes from liftoff, where we perform the go pull for launch and tank pressurization. And then at 6 minutes is when the range provides the authorization to launch.
Gotcha. So while we're waiting for this hold, if you are just joining us, this is the live coverage of the Tropics 1 mission on Astra's LV0010 vehicle. Amanda, do you want to just give a brief overview for the new people that may just be tuning in about what today's mission is all about?
Right. Yeah, so this mission marks, again, our second mission with NASA, and we are launching, it's the first of 3 launches to deliver the NASA Tropics satellites to low Earth orbit. And so the objective for today is to deliver the 2 identical CubeSats to an orbit of 550 kilometers at a 29.75 degree inclination. These payloads are about 3U in size, so they are fairly small, and the payloads are used to monitor the weather of incoming storms. And so the imagery will actually penetrate into a storm cloud layer and be able to provide precipitation, temperature, and humidity data measurements for scientists and meteorologists to help understand how storms form, grow, and intensify throughout their life cycle. And then we do have a great blog that NASA has provided for us. You can find that with a more overview of the satellites themselves. You can find that at astra.com/mission/tropics-1.
All right. And while we wait again for more mission updates, we have a couple more questions coming into the chat here, so we'll go ahead. And we got one asking about the spaceports that Astra operates out of. Of course, this is Cape Canaveral, not the first time Astra's launched from here. Astra has also launched from Kodiak in the past. Can you talk a little bit about the differences in those spaceports and where else Astra might begin launching from?
The two main spaceports that we launch out of right now are Kodiak, Alaska, and Cape Canaveral. So Kodiak is beneficial because it is a commercial launch site for both orbital and suborbital vehicles. And then we did actually recently announce a partnership in May with Saxaverd in UK Spaceport. You can learn more about that partnership at astra.com and also our video recording from our Space Tech Day. So we're very excited about this partnership as it would expand our capacity to reach key inclinations.
Gotcha. And speaking of other locations regarding Astra, where was this rocket built?
This rocket was built right here at our headquarter factory in Alameda, California.
And shipped via road all the way to Florida, right?
Yep, this one went.
Dang.
This one rolled via truck.
I believe we actually have a video of that arrival if we can show that. This is the video of the rocket being shipped out to Florida for today's launch.
That'd be awesome.
So again, that's how the rocket got here, and of course there was a static fire test prior to the launch attempt, and today's launch attempt is currently in a hold. We're waiting for another update on this LOX conditioning issue. Once that hold clears, there'll be a recycle point and a new T0. So once we get a little bit more information and an update on that, we'll go ahead and come back, but let's go ahead and take a break, and we will come back to you with more information as soon as we have it. Again, stick with us.
And this is why I'm glad we did not go up there today. Because it'd be a whole lot of sitting around, waiting. And with my daughter, that would not have been fun. She didn't like sitting and waiting for the SpaceX one either. Yeah, they're basically conditioning the liquid oxygen for the launch. But the thing that kind of has me wondering is we've been in this hold for about 20-ish minutes now. So are there issues with them conditioning it causing the delay? Like they mentioned, they only have about 20 more... About 5 minutes ago, they mentioned that they only have about 20 minutes to get this fixed for an actual launch today due to the weather window that is moving into the Cape. Doesn't look too promising for them today. I know last time that Astra did launch out of the Cape, it took them about 4 to 5 days to actually get it launched because every day they kept on having issues. So it's tough to say. I know obviously NASA has a contract with them for these 3 missions, but I mean, last time that they finally launched on the 6th day, when they went to deploy the payload blew up. Now you're having issues again today, when they were feeling pretty promising that they wouldn't have any issues, and it would be a not cakewalk, because no launch is ever a cakewalk, but that they would be able to do better than last time. It's not looking promising for Astra, that's for sure. And that's the thing, like, I understand NASA needs to have multiple agencies that they can launch with, because not everything can just go with SpaceX. But NASA did mention that they will not be using the Starliner capsule right now until they get their stuff figured out. That they will stick with the Dragon capsule, meaning more missions for SpaceX. Found out about that yesterday, so that's pretty interesting. I mean, there's been times where I've been at work. As a lot of you guys know, I work just south of the Cape, down at one of the Space Force bases, and it was not very weather permitting, or very calm, as you would say, and they still lifted off, had a successful launch, had a successful deployment of everything. I do have to say, like, my honest opinion is SpaceX is doing everything right. Yeah, at the beginning they had hiccups with a lot of things. They had a couple crash and burns of their first stage rockets. I know their bigger shuttle per se that they're working on. They've had one of them explode that I know of. But a lot of their stuff has been in the early stages of testing and everything else. It hasn't been on major launches and stuff like that. They've been doing, in my opinion, very, very well. And I mean, I give Elon Musk a lot of credit. First full-blown electric vehicle, nobody thought he could do it. Then he changes completely different paths and goes to space launches and rockets and stuff like that. Like, everyone jokes about us colonizing Mars. If there's somebody that's going to do it, it's not going to be fucking NASA. Let's be 100% honest. It's going to be a privatized company. I mean, look at Blue Origin. Blue Origin's already in the works of creating their own commercial space station. Which I've had talks with my wife and a couple of my coworkers and stuff about how much stuff we are putting up into space lately. I mean, there's at least every week we're launching anywhere between 1 and 3 rockets up into space. Like, how much room do we still have for low orbit space of satellites and stuff like that? And could that actually be causing a lot of issues for the environment as well? I mean, they get upset talking about, oh, your car emits all this pollution and stuff like that. Okay, how much pollution does a rocket that gets launched 1 to 3 times a week produce? You know what I mean? Like, I'm no scientist, but there's some things that don't add up. Like, yeah, back in the day, we were only launching like 1 or 2 rockets, like shuttle missions and stuff, a year. Now we're launching a lot more often. It keeps me gainfully employed. I'm not gonna complain. But just food for thought.
Alright, so we are still in a hold here at T-minus 31 seconds, expecting a recycle at a new T0, hopefully before too long. The window does last all the way till 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 1800
But
UTC,
weather.
and we're keeping an eye on the weather with regards to that as well, but still holding for an update, hoping for another recycle still. Excuse me. But in the meantime, we do have some more questions coming in. So first off, Amanda, how much thrust does Rocket 3 have, and what's the thrust-weight ratio with that?
Yes, so the overall thrust of the first stage vehicle is 32,500 pounds. So there are 5 first stage engines on our engine bay, and each one of those deliver about 6,500 pounds of thrust individually, and there's 740 pounds on the upper stage.
Gotcha. And that thrust, again, we talked about earlier about the fuel combination of RPX kerosene and liquid oxygen. Martin is asking, is the rocket propellant, the kerosene component, not cooled? Because you can see only the liquid oxygen tank is frosty there.
Yep, no, the kerosene is not cooled. That is at atmospheric conditions.
Gotcha.
You do not
Another
chill
question
kerosene.
here, what is the payload capacity of Rocket 3?
Yeah, so Rocket 3 is able to deliver anywhere from 25 to 150 kilograms of payload up to a 500-kilometer sun-synchronous orbit.
Gotcha.
I could see somebody
And
being a
again, the
smartass.
rocket,
Why
for
does
stage launch
Astro
still in a hold? We're going to provide another
never
update
launch
again
on
as
time?
soon as we have it, but the teams are hoping to recycle. So keep those questions coming in the meantime. Go ahead and tag us at NASA Spaceflight in chat. We're going to keep looking for some more questions while we wait for another update as well, and we'll come back as soon as we have it.
Let's face it. Four weeks or longer? That's funny. They'll only allow people to ask questions if you've subscribed for 4 weeks or longer. That's fucking insane, in my opinion. Oh, let's see. Starting lineup for today's race: Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Busher, McDowell. McDowell got in the top 5. Damn. Reddick, Custer, Chastain, Suarez, which Suarez did very well yesterday. Logano, Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, AJ Allmendinger, Joey Hand, don't know who that is, Justin Haley, Bowman, Byron, Amarola, Keselowski, Harvick, Gilliland, Cindric, Burton, 3 rookies in a row. That's pretty cool. Wallace, Truex, Balicki, LaJoy, Bell, Stenhouse, Jones, Dillon, Heckert, Ware, and Balicki is ineligible to collect cup points. Huh. Don't know why, but that's kind of funny. So the race starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. Why so late? Because when I was checking earlier, I thought it's at 2. Stand by, Ghost Rider. Dum, 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 dum. Let's see. Yes, Sonoma. No, thank you. My wife just brought the Fire Hot Cheeto macaroni and cheese, and it is redder than red. No, thank you. Did you try? Yeah. How was it?
I mean, it tastes like hot Cheeto. I
Can you go fill this up first? I will, once Mommy brings me back my water.
You better taste it.
I will.
If you don't, I will do something to make you weird. Make everybody see you.
Well, we don't have a launch count down now, so they might have gotten it reset. They might be resetting it now. We are about an hour. I see. We're about an hour past when it was supposed to launch. Please don't do that because you're close to the window. If you fall, hurt yourself, you might hit the window.
If you don't eat the Cheetos,
I'm glad that we didn't go see this launch.
What does it taste like? Cheetos? Can I smell? Ew!
It's got that real spicy aftertaste, but it's actually pretty good.
Wait, is it real spicy? Ugh! I smell like spicy.
I know you don't. It's not bad at all.
It's good for grown-ups, but it's not good for me.
So they start the behind the scenes and up-to-date minute report from the garage prior to the start of the NASCAR race, and then the race starts at 4. Yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. You're crazy, kid.
Okay, workouts.
Oh, that's the aftertaste of my pre-workout. I thought my wife put something else in there. I was like, what the hell? Hi, please stop.
I'm trying to work out.
Do it quietly. You're trying to be a goon. Gotta love my child. Being a butthead. It's completely yeah. There we go. In order to get whitelisted, you need to read our community policies, which can be found here. Cool. It doesn't look like they're quickly trying to get this fixed. That one guy in the back left corner looks bored as hell. Excuse me. Technically, all of these are trucks.
Alright, so we're still waiting for an update on today's countdown. Again, we'll provide that update as soon as we have it. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at this overview video about the NASA Tropics mission in partnership with Astra.
A Pew Research poll showed that of 9 different categories that NASA should focus on, number 1 on the list is to observe the Earth's climate. The Tropics mission is a mission that Americans really care about because it is directly observing our climate.
Tropics has a very specific need for their orbital configuration. We need to go to a 30-degree inclined orbit, and no one else really wants to go there. The rideshares are all going to sun-synchronous orbits or mid-inclinations, so it's very well targeted to a smaller vehicle with a very targeted insertion where they can get us exactly where we want to go, and Astra is perfect for that.
And so being able to launch 3 different times for $8 million is unprecedented because of our unique ability to get to 3 different orbital planes in a very short period of time at a low cost.
Why I'm excited about Tropics is coming out of NASA, having the opportunity to fly satellites for the organization I used to work for is personally gratifying for me. It's also a really important mission because we can detect tropical storms, we can help people evacuate, we can save lives, and it's a mission that's really well designed for Astra's capability, being able to put multiple rockets up into multiple planes rapidly.
And we have the honor of being the final and most important piece at this moment in time of their mission, which is get that hardware in space, exactly where it needs to go. We see that there are increasingly smaller satellites that are smarter, that are doing cool things in orbit, but they need to go to particular destinations at particular times.
The real end game here is improving our ability to forecast tropical cyclones. What we're trying to do is make measurements in the microwave wavelength region, and those have the advantage of being able to penetrate the cloud tops and see the storm thermodynamics underneath the clouds. We're going to get something we've never had before in the history of weather satellites, which is revisit rates of better than 1 hour.
For the team itself, this will be a massive culmination of the last 3 years of work of developing this launch system to be able to do these things that we set out to do from the very beginning.
From Astra's perspective, it's really important because we believe in space at scale, and to do that, you need to have much more frequent launches and access to space. And so this has been an opportunity for us to really understand how can we further compress the turnaround time between launches, both in terms of building the rockets and in conducting the launches.
What this milestone means for us is delivering a really important mission for our customer, but also demonstrating the capability that others can leverage in the future.
And so the opportunity to be a part of something like Tropics, where you get to make a difference and make a really large impact in the lives of people and help humanity as a whole, does mean a lot to me, and it really excites me as well going into this mission, knowing that we can help do something to make the world a better, safer place for people.
Alright everyone, again, we're still waiting for an update on today's countdown. The window does last again till 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time or 1800 UTC, so we'll provide an update as soon as we have it. There is still time left in the window, and the teams are continuing to work to resolve this hold, so stand by for an update as soon as we have it.
Awesome.
I use these.
Okay, go please.
Can't forget your snowflake.
Okay. No, don't just randomly put stuff in my drawer. That's not what I wanted. It does not look promising for these guys. What the fuck? Oh god. Does not look promising. They do have nice vehicles. Which one was it? New Hanover? That was what, 610? Let's check this one out. Okay, so you don't have to have... Okay, cool. That's actually a pretty nice brush truck, not gonna lie.
All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience and sticking with us. We'll keep providing, and we'll provide another update again as soon as we have it. Right now, the teams are just still working to resolve this hold in the window that again lasts for another hour. So plenty of time in the window, but standing by for another update, and we'll provide that and a new T0 as soon as we have it. In the meantime, we do have a couple more questions that we can go through here. So let's see. If today is scrubbed, when is the next likely launch window, Amanda?
Yeah, we do have one more day in our launch window, which is tomorrow, Monday, June 13th.
Right, and we're not pushed to that just yet, but there is a backup opportunity tomorrow. For tomorrow, does the weather look favorable for tomorrow's attempt?
Right now, it does look like the weather is actually more favorable than it is today.
Yeah.
The weather's still kind of holding out for today, so we're
What's
gonna
up,
keep an eye on
Ash?
that, but another attempt with a favorable weather forecast tomorrow. So again, we'll provide that update as soon as we have it. Other questions here. We do have a question earlier. We were talking about how the teams were working on LOX conditioning. Can you actually elaborate on what that means and what they might have been working on with regards to LOX conditioning?
Right, so that's part of our propellant loading procedure. It's filling up the liquid
You got
oxygen
your computer
into
to
the,
work?
liquid oxygen tank. As the vehicle is sitting on the pad, obviously, since it is a cryogenic fluid, that fluid is boiling off. And so as it sits there, we do need to top off the tank. So we need to continuously refill the liquid oxygen as the vehicle is sitting on the pad prior to launch.
Got it. Another question here from Keynes, who asks, is Astra hiring? I believe that's a great question for you right now.
Yeah, Astra is hiring. Please check out our website for the over 100 different postings that we're currently recruiting for, and we have an amazing recruiting
I would not
team, so
recommend
please reach
working
out
for
to
Astra.
Any of them, we'd be more than happy to share with you all of the opportunities that Astra has to offer. I personally spent 11
Send
years
me
in
a
the
picture
aerospace
of what it
industry in test
is.
engineering before I took the huge step to join the operations team here at Astra, and it really has been one of the most rewarding experiences.
Yeah, go get a job with
Sending
Astra
rockets
if
to
you
space
don't
is
want a
hard,
job in
as you can
a
see, and
year.
this team works really hard, but they take care of each other. And we aim to give everyone ownership and autonomy over their projects. So come work on something amazing with us. You know, we're looking for mechanical engineers.
She
test
does
engineers,
not sound
fluid
very
engineers,
thrilled
anyone with
about
experience with
that.
Valves or automation.
Yeah,
or
come
even
work with
software systems
us.
to help us design our next rocket. And we're also looking to scale up our team in the operations department as well to help us build and qualify each of these vehicles as it leaves the building. So looking for production supervisors, production managers,
Sorry,
as
that
well
just-
as build technicians. So please check out our website at astra.com/careers.
Awesome.
You
other
could
questions
not
we're
pay
getting
me
here. We had
enough
one
to
question
go
about,
to
have there been any
Astra.
major changes since the last launch from LV 0009?
So we are continuously seeking to improve the functionality and reliability of the vehicle. So there have been some minor software updates that have been implemented on LV 0010, but there have not been any major material or mechanical upgrades to the vehicle since LV 0009. We do have the remainder of our Tropics vehicles currently in work on the production floor.
So I had
They're
that game at
actually
one point.
directly
Let me
behind us
see
right
if
now
I
in the
have
final
it
integration lane, and so our
still in my
team is
Steam
actually working
library.
to transition away from Rocket 3 and towards our Rocket 4. So we did see a
Was it
question
Steam or
in
was
there
it-
about the progress of that. So we are at a transition point right now for our production floor.
I don't know
as we're ramping down
which
our Rocket 3
area I
production
got it off
efforts
of,
and
so
building
I
in
don't have it
more of
anymore.
those development builds for
But
Rocket
sure.
4.
Nice.
As long as it's free.
See, another question we had was how long before the launch does fueling take place? Because of course when we go live, you guys just see propellant loading has already been well underway. So how long before launch does Astra start fueling the rocket?
Yeah, so it typically takes about 2 hours to start the fueling process from beginning to when the vehicle is ready to go. And sometimes if we do need to recycle, it can often take up to 30 minutes to recycle the vehicle.
Gotcha. And with regards to that ground support equipment that is of course involved with fueling and all these other things, can you talk a little bit about how that ground support equipment gets transported along with the rocket to the launch site?
Yeah, so the amount of ground support equipment that goes with each of the vehicles depends on where we're launching from and what type of infrastructure we already have set up in that area. So if it's Kodiak, Alaska or the Cape, then we have some of the ground support equipment that is left there from our previous launches. But if we were to set up brand new at a new location, believe we can bring all of our ground support equipment in roughly 5 containers, and that includes our consumables, the helium LOX containers, our fuel. It brings in the cube and even the cube for the launcher system and the rocket, and then we also have a clean room that we bring along in a shipping container. So roughly around 5 shipping containers is what we need to set up a new space.
5 shipping containers for an orbital launch system. That's pretty cool. Again, everyone, if you just stick with us, we are waiting for another update on today's countdown. Still in a hold right now. The window lasts until 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and we will provide another update. Again, as soon as we have it, the team's still working on resolving that hold. But keep the questions coming. Tag us at NASA Spaceflight in chat.
Don't
We'll
lie to me
provide
like
some
that.
more updates and some more questions and answers once we have them.
Uh-huh. Like I said, don't lie to me, Ash. I do not see Astra doing very well in the future. Found my old AT&T phone. Here, let me see. Don't hold it like that.
Tricked you. It was
Well, don't hold it by the ear. You can break it.
betting.
Okay, go.
It was so. I could like fool you.
She thinks she fooled me, but she didn't. Ooh, screen's cracked. What do you guys think? You think it's gonna go off? Or do you think it's a fail for today? Let me know in the comments what you think.
Can you race with me on Pokemon?
Not right this second. Point shop. How many points do I have?
Not race with Pokemon. Can we race on Mario Kart?
I'm not out there playing. No, put them back.
They're all the same.
Put them back, please.
Why are all of them?
Put them back, please. I do not think they're gonna launch today. I think I literally just wasted 2 hours of my life.
Dad, did you saw
No! Stop! You were all fine and dandy earlier, but now you're just doing it to be annoying. It's in the process of downloading. Obviously, it's going a little bit slow because of everything I have going on. I played 43.6 hours in the last 2 weeks. Let's see. 2.4 hours on NASCAR Heat 5, 34.4 hours on the Call of the Wild, 6.8 on Farming Simulator. Not bad. My highest hour-wise game that I've played is NASCAR Heat 4, and it says that I've played 111 hours on record. NASCAR Heat 5, 90 hours on record. Call of the Wild, 65. Grand Theft Auto, 63. ATS, 16.1. Ignition 6.9, Farming Simulator 6.8, Among Us 3.3. So yeah. Dum, 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 dum. We'll just save that for the time being. Refresh the weather. Yeah, they have storms moving in now, so. We're sitting at saying 27 minutes, 25 minutes for it to download. It's not horrible. Especially seeing that none of my hard drives are solid state. Actually, no. I do have a solid state on this. I have a solid state, and then I've got 3 other hard drives that are... Fuck yeah, concrete. What the fuck are you talking about? I love how they rented 2 generators when they probably could have rented 1 and just upsized it. Because if you can tell, so they have it hooked up to an automatic transfer switch that's in a portable container, which is weird. The ones, well, they might have one as a backup, but the one on the left is barely even pushing out anything. Like, the engine load on it is so small. If it was powered up, like, close to its peak load, this flap right here would be all the way up. What do you mean, fuck yeah, concrete? Oh, okay. I was just confused. Don't mind me. I don't think this is going to launch today. That hurt. That was a fucking drill. No, it wasn't a drill bit. I thought it was a drill bit. Channel, go here, coach. Do they have the Artemis 1 mission up here? That's a Chinese one. Like, no. Because that'll be a cool one to go see. Projected to launch in August. 5, that's Kazakhstan. That was 5. That'll be a cool one to see. In September, they have a Falcon Heavy, which is basically 3 Falcon 9 rockets strapped together. $90 million. Jesus Christ. 70 meters long. Falcon Heavy has... Okay, cool. Obviously don't know of the landing. Most likely it would be a... they're drone ships. So yeah, that might be the next one.
Go ahead.
We do have an update for you. We are going to finish our configuration loads and checks and then do a terminal count pre-pull, and we'll be checking back in with the range to see if they are go or no-go. It does appear like the weather is favorable until at least 10:45 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, so that Florida weather doing the Florida weather thing where it might just hold out long enough, so we'll keep an eye out on that. But sounds like we are getting close to a new T0, so stay tuned.
Yeah, it might just hold out long enough.
In the meantime, we do have a couple more questions to go through, so we'll keep those coming with that update. First question from Hoppy is, what is the expected time for launch tomorrow? I have exams and don't want to miss the launch. I can relate to that. But what is the launch window for tomorrow?
So the launch window for tomorrow would be at the same time as it was today. So that would be starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern.
Gotcha. But hoping that we don't need that, because it sounds like we might get lucky today. We'll stay tuned for that. Other questions coming in here. Gaming Viper asked what engines are being used for this rocket. So what are the engines on Rocket 3?
Right, so the Rocket 3 engines, so on the first stage, there are the 5 electric pump-fed engines. Each one has 65,000 pounds of thrust, and so those are fed via the RPX, which is a highly refined form of kerosene as well as liquid oxygen. So there's a total combined thrust of 32,500 pounds on the first stage engine bay.
Which is what they had issues with earlier.
They were a pressure-fed engine that can provide 740 pounds of thrust.
The loading of liquid oxygen, supposedly.
And then you mentioned earlier we were talking about the new mission control setup. That's still here in Alameda, right?
Yes. Yeah. So even though this pod is portable, the intention is for mission control to stay here in Alameda rather than actually transporting these pods to the launch site. Mission control is intended to be at headquarters. However, we do have our smaller team that does head out to the launch site. That is our red team. So the intention is to make sure we have 2 small teams supporting each of the launches. One that does travel to the launch site, but then also the mission control pod staying here.
Makes sense.
Supporting on site at headquarters.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I don't know, the weather looks clear to me.
Out there in Cape Canaveral, Florida, if you are just joining us, this is live coverage of the LV-0010
So these
two
vehicle,
which is
towers are Lightning
mission, the first of 3 flights for NASA's
arresters.
mission, from Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Fucking fire
right now,
stripping.
the teams are
Always.
but they are working on resolving it with some
so obviously with
sounds like
how much
new T0 hopefully very soon.
lightning we get down in Florida, that keeps it from striking the actual rocket itself and dissipating the energy.
Another update, we'll provide that T0
Which there were actually 2 teenagers that got struck by lightning on... We went to the launch Wednesday. It was Wednesday night. They got struck by lightning. Fucking insane. They actually lived. Well, I know one lived, one was still in serious condition as of yesterday morning.
Can you confirm for me that an AV1 managed power systems, toggle ground power systems authority is still true?
Tango on countdown, AV1 managed power systems authority, ground power systems authority is true.
AV1 managed polling, do both ground and guidance polling is set to true.
Enhance.
Setting both ground and guidance polling to true.
I'm going to start charging biddies for those fire.
GNC.
Alright, so as you can see now, the countdown clock has resumed to just about T-minus 12 minutes and counting. We're going to come up on another go, no-go poll like we heard earlier.
At 10 minutes.
The teams are back into a recycle and aiming for a new T0 of 10:43 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1:43 p.m. Eastern time, local time in Cape Canaveral, or a 17:43
right.
UTC. Again, now just under T-minus 12 minutes, and the teams are tracking towards a new T0 for today's launch.
Look at all that liquid oxygen that's offloading.
Again, if you are just joining us,
or vaporing
this is what
off.
we would expect to see after the last 10 minutes of this countdown. So, Amanda?
Yeah, so T0 is when we have first stage engine ignition and liftoff. And then just 6 seconds into the flight is when we begin our pitch over, which is when the onboard guidance will start to pitch the vehicle over
Give me 1
towards
second.
its downrange orbital trajectory. And then just over 1 minute over into flight is when the vehicle will reach max Q. Again, this is when the vehicle's structural integrity will be tested, because this is when it is the maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle during flight. And just at the 3-minute mark,
Finding out from the little one if she actually wanted to watch the launch, because she hasn't been too thrilled with this
engines will receive
this
the
launch.
command to shut down,
I don't blame
which
her.
allows the vehicle to briefly coast before stage separation. From there, we will receive the command to have the fairings pop open and fall away from the vehicle.
Hopefully the
which
payload
will
doesn't
then be
blow up
followed
this
immediately
time.
by stage separation. And so
Like
that is when
last
the first
time.
stage releases the upper stage into the atmosphere. And then at around 3 minutes 15 seconds, the upper stage engine will ignite and be on its way to orbit. And then after a roughly 5-minute flight, the upper stage will receive the command to shut down its engine, followed by payload deployment. And as we mentioned earlier in the live stream, we are hoping to see live video feed from one of our onboard upper stage cameras of one of the 2 payloads being deployed. However, it is possible that we will not see confirmation of this for up to 90 minutes after the satellite deployment, or at least a couple of orbits, and that is mostly
I think
due
they
to the
say that
location
because
of the satellite
they
in
don't
our
want to
relative
show it
air
until
ground
they find out if it
once
actually
deployment
deployed
happens.
correctly.
So we will be ending the live stream right as deployment occurs, but again, the satellite communication may not be confirmed for up to 90 minutes. So please remember to follow NASA's Twitter handle at NASA Earth, who will provide confirmation
I
once
could see that happening.
satellite signal is confirmed. And then we will also provide an update on our handle at Astra when we have confirmed.
I just
with
got
our NASA
accepted,
partners.
whitelisted to New
As
Hanover
the teams get ready to
Worldwide.
go into the last few minutes of the countdown, let's go ahead and listen in as they go for the final go, no-go poll.
Go flight.
Okay, team, this takes us to step 90, hole 3 for tank press and launch. Customer, can you please confirm if the payload is ready for flight?
New Haven RP?
Payload ready.
Or New Hanover RP.
Going
It's a
around the
small
room,
server,
team.
so.
After this point, any system issue is a 3-word hold on the countdown net. If there are no concerns for flight, call go. Otherwise, call no go. Red lead.
Go.
FTS.
You have
Go.
to be whitelisted
GNC.
to get into their server.
Athena is go.
FAO.
FAO is go.
CDH.
CDH is go.
Tango.
Tango is go.
Astra Safety.
Safety is go.
Astra Flight is also go.
Alright, as you just heard, the teams have once again pulled go for launch. T-minus 8 minutes and counting. You can see right now that's the mission control team.
Probably
Amanda,
just
you wanna
being
give
a
us an
sieve,
overview
I
of
don't
the
know yet.
personnel that are supporting today's launch?
Yeah, so in the mission control pod, you see they're sitting here at our headquarters in Alameda. So in
They're
the
not
bottom
6 foot
left-hand side of the
distancing and they
screen
don't
there,
have
you
their
see
masks
Joshua
on,
Green,
and they're
who
in
is our
California.
Controller, also the call sign Tango. His responsibilities are executing commands that are being called out for the ground support equipment, as well as the rocket and automation, and also just make sure that all the clicks and actuation are running properly. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen there is Jarrett Bullion. He is our command and data handling, our call sign CDH. And his responsibilities are just debugging some of the automation, monitoring progress, and looking for any anomalies in the launch system.
I say that, and then that guy
In the
finally puts
back
his mask on.
There is our assistant flight director for today. He is in training. That is Derek Hamilton. He is hidden behind his monitors right now. But then on the far left is Chris Hoffman. He is our flight director for today. He leads the launch operations procedures and is ultimately our final launch authority. In
That's
addition
fucking
to the launch
hilarious.
operations team, we do also have an engineering back room that helps to
What's
monitor the
this?
rockets,
Announcements.
update software, and
Servers
perform
are going
other
down for
various tasks
maintenance.
during
Okay,
operations.
cool. They'll be back
These are
online in a
generally the
little bit.
engineers that are responsible for the system elements, and they are there to ensure that things are working properly and to assist the launch operation team when troubleshooting if needed. And these folks are scattered across our facility at their own consoles.
Ooh, is this one?
So huge thank you to this team. Launch operations is a multi-day effort with many checkouts and procedures that need to go perfectly in order to give our team the okay to launch.
I believe also in addition to those here in Alameda, you do want to go over the folks that are out at the launch site for today's mission.
Yeah, so we also have our red team. The red team are the folks on the ground in Cape Canaveral. These are the field engineers that travel with the rocket, and they provide on-site support during the delivery, the setup, and all of the final pre-launch preparations for the vehicle. They're basically
You know how
responsible
shitty
for
that
all
would
of the
be
physical work that
if
needs
they
to be done on the
waited
vehicle
this
after production
long
has officially handed off the vehicle and launch systems
and
to
then
launch operations. So basically find and debug all the mechanical problems.
Ah,
So Adam Fish is our
it
red lead.
fails.
He is the pad leader that has the final say on things at the pad itself and leads the activities at the launch site. Then we have our red 2 through 4 members.
We're down
That's
below
Eric,
6 minutes to go.
Larson, Corey Beals, and Benjamin Barrow, and they're responsible for
And we got
doing a
6
lot of the
people
assembling
watching.
and
I know
troubleshooting
Fire's
of
in
the
here.
mechanical and electrical
Yeah, Fire streaming.
tasks at the launch
It's
site.
probably just gonna be
Then we have
civilian.
Melissa Cornelius, who is
For
our
the time
Astro
being,
Safety
possibly
officer.
do fire
Their
and EMS.
responsibility is ensuring a safe
I
launch.
did watch
So that
one of
requires
their
a lot of coordination
streams.
between the range,
Like I kind of
FAA,
perused through it.
personnel.
Their
And then we have Eric Steinberg,
chief
aka Steiny, as
of
our
fire
red
and EMS.
IT.
Their
He is our
rigs
on-site
look
IT and network
fucking.
professional,
I like
that
their
basically
rigs.
ensures that our cameras, communication, and data
I can
on
always
on-site,
send it. Actually, yeah,
is
I'll send
working.
it to you.
And as we mentioned earlier about hiring, there are positions on our career site for launch field technicians if anyone is interested in traveling to our sites and helping us assist with our launches.
Can I do it
Alright.
part-time?
So coming up on the T-minus 5-minute mark, we're going to go ahead and listen in.
Seeing that I already
the
live down here and I
controllers as they work
already
through the final
have
few minutes
fucking
of the
access.
countdown. Again, if you're just joining us, we are 5 minutes away from the next launch attempt for Tropics Flight 1 on Astra LV0010. Let's listen in.
Where's the assistant chief? I know I had seen it. No, it wasn't him. No whitelisted jobs. No, I can understand that. If I do a whitelisted job, I don't want to be in command or anything like that. I'm over it. Beautiful blue skies. This is actually the. This looks like the backside of the ULA vertical building.
4 minutes.
At 2 minutes, I will.
T-minus 4 minutes and count.
Actually, I'll wait till like a minute to call the kid in. I don't know. You might be in that other one with Luna.
Rock, flight on countdown.
Rock.
At this time, can you verify range has restarted telemetry recordings?
Telemetry recorders are running.
You can see some of the teams here in Alameda gathering to watch today's
Reminder,
launch.
control room, if you require RF data in flight, be prepared to switch over your engines.
Awesome. But are you going to do the whitelisted job? T-minus 3
Go, flight on
minutes.
countdown. Please be prepared to issue option when rocket IIP marker passes Min-Miko marker and is within dispersed trajectories, calling out at event.
Copies.
Okay. That wasn't happening before, so that's good signs.
Reminder all that any 3-word hold call from here on out will be on abort.
Massive vent from the bottom.
Ace, please start PSD recordings and downrange ground station recordings.
Done.
Looks like we might actually get a launch. Only almost 2 hours or an hour later. No, almost 2 hours
2
later.
minutes.
T-minus 2 minutes, all systems go so far.
2 boys, 2. What? I don't think I have the subtitles on. Oh, I do. Let's shut those off, because they're not even anywhere remotely correct. Some of the shit that's popping up, I'm like, 2 boys, 2 minutes? What the fuck? That sounds horrible.
90 seconds.
I'll mute myself at a minute and then call my kiddo in. She loves rocket launches, she just doesn't like seeing them in person now. T-minus 60 seconds.
60 seconds. Vehicle is on internal control.
Less than a minute to go. Everything looks on track.
And this is why I called her with a minute to go, because by the time she gets here, it'll be under 30 seconds.
First stage fuel tank.
Oh, 40. Actually, we're at 38 seconds. It doesn't do anything at 2 minutes. No, 30 seconds. It's gonna launch. You okay? No, don't take it.
20.
Hey, how about you do that after the launch? Come here. We're at 16 seconds.
15. 10. Water.
9.
8.
7. 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, she actually launched.
Chamber pressure is nominal.
Our next objective is max Q, which is the period of maximum dynamic pressure on the first stage structure during flight, which is coming up just after 1 minute.
Whoa, keep it on! Wait, I was...
Shot of the rocket ascending from Cape Canaveral on its way to space.
Can you stop holding?
And keep track of the missions with the timeline on the bottom, as well as live telemetry on the bottom right of your screen.
Max Q.
Vehicles down past 2 point of expected maximum aerodynamic pressure. Now getting some more views of the rocket. You can see Cape Canaveral below.
That's an awesome view.
Our next milestone is going to be the
main engine cut off,
which will be called out by launch ops as MECO. Once that option is confirmed, the commander is set to shut down the 5 first stage engines and allow the vehicle to briefly coast. We will then signal to pop open the fairings and allow those to fall away from the vehicle. The first stage will then release upper stage for the final segment of our flight.
I don't even think we can see it from here. Nope, there's no remnants of it today. With the cloud cover and everything.
Two and a half minutes into flight, again coming up on main engine cutoff at just about T+3 minutes. Everything looking good so far.
So far. It's all going to come down to that payload deployment to see if it's actually a successful launch.
Let's go, option set.
Confirmed, option received.
MECO. Main engine cutoff.
Now looking at an onboard view, looking up, there you see payload fairing separation. This is a camera on the upper stage. And there's stage separation and ether ignition, upper stage ignition.
You hear them in the background, go, 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 because they want this to be successful.
Now the upper stage will burn for just about 5 minutes on its way to low Earth orbit. Again, everything looking good so far.
It does look good so far. Which I'm not going to lie, I'd love to see Astra do good and have continuous working alliance with
You can actually
NASA.
see from the onboard telemetry, the vehicle is actually already in space. However, it has to get that horizontal velocity needed to stay in space via achieving low Earth orbit. And so we're going to be watching that velocity marker tick up on the bottom right of your screen. But 4 minutes into flight, everything is looking good so far.
Because obviously, for obvious reasons, it's good to have multiple sources or resources to be able to use, especially in a big operation like NASA as well as space. I do think, though, that obviously SpaceX does have their hand up on all the other privatized companies that are trying to do it. They definitely have their hands up on NASA. Like, since the shuttle stuff stopped, NASA really hasn't been producing great mission capabilities. Let's just put it that way. It's been more reliable on the outsourcing and everything else.
You can see on the left there the path that the rocket has traced so far on its trajectory, pretty much due east right down the center of that corridor. 5 minutes into flight, everything looking good. And we're going to expect this burn to continue until about 8.5 minutes after liftoff.
Which,
yeah, the
3
8.5
minutes
minute mark, that's when
isn't
we
bad.
will receive the second engine cut off, and at that point will be payload deployment. And just as a reminder, we should only be able to see one of the two payloads deploy from this mission from our onboard upper stage camera. However, it is likely that we may not see this video feed and we may not receive signal confirmation of the satellites for up to 90 minutes after deployment occurs. Again, this is completely expected, and it is due to the location of those satellites in orbit relative to their ground communication links.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see exactly what we see there, but hoping to get some cool views. The teams at Alameda watching on as the flight progresses. Again, the flight going well so far, 6 minutes into flight.
Astra needs a good launch and successful mission, honestly. That's insane, though. 5,534 meters per second. Which I hate the fact that they do that shit. Just tell me what it is in miles per hour. Because I don't want to do the fucking math. I won't do the math.
You keep an eye on that altitude. You can see the rocket already over 510 kilometers in altitude. Again, the target orbit for today is at 550 kilometers in altitude.
Which they're getting very, very close to.
And you can see also that velocity continuing to climb towards orbital velocity, of course, which is good. 7 minutes in the flight. Just a little over a minute left in the planned upper stage burn.
Yeah, a minute 45. Which it doesn't even look like it's burning, to be honest. Oh. Yeah, there's obviously a little bit delay. Eight minutes. honestly think they cut back because they don't want anyone to witness it if something does end up happening. Which I don't blame them. That's a big PR. Like last time they showed it, and it was not good. Let me see if I can find the video. What's up, Fire? I haven't heard anything from him. And it was a straight line, and then you see here it started to verge off. Like I said, I really hope that they have a successful launch. While they're doing that, I'll bring up this one. This is when
USAA Bank is...
That's not what I wanted. Go back.
10, 9.
Option sent.
Copy.
FTS confirms option detected.
Separation. And that was MECO, or main engine cutoff.
This was from February.
That was fairing separation and stage separation. And you can see that the upper stage ether engine
running.
has lit.
And it spun out of control, and then
Opening FV 200A, opening FV 300A.
We heard that an issue has been experienced during flight that prevented the delivery of our
We
customer
had a
payloads
nominal
to
first
orbit
stage
today.
flight. However,
We are
the upper
deeply
stage engine did shut down early, and we did not deliver our payloads to orbit. We will end the broadcast here, and thank you for sticking with us today.
Thank you to Astra for partnering with NASA Spaceflight to help bring live launch coverage to you, and stay tuned for more news coverage. But that wraps up our coverage for today. Thank you all for watching.
0 for 3. Well, that sucks. They need to come up with a plan of how they're going to deliver the payload. That's what it really honestly looks like. Launch-wise, they can get it up there. It's more the aftermath. Who do we have that's streaming that we can go raid for the hell of it? Oh, he just got off. No, there he is. We're gonna raid somebody, and then we're gonna be in the Discord doing the race while I work on getting GTA 5 stuff taken care of. Thank you all for being here. Fire, Ash, Layden, and everybody else that's been quiet in the chat. I appreciate you being here. I will be back later. Talk to you guys in a bit. Be safe. Fucking fire.
So where did the guy